Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Ghost Racing Network as we kick off officially tonight in primetime, round one of the playoffs, live in the Metalheads Truck Series from the southern shores of the Great Lakes. You'll arrive in the Windy City, about 20 minutes outside beautiful downtown Chicago. You'll arrive here in Joliet, Illinois, where the battle rages tonight live on GRN. Good evening and welcome. Matt Metler up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth as this field just finished up qualifying as we begin to grid behind that iRacing.com page truck this evening. Again, want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight as we dial up the excitometer as the playoffs are officially here this evening. Round one underway momentarily. Tell you what, picking up right where he left off, Matt Canana's going to have the pole here this evening. And he has been a force to be reckoned with the entire stint of this year. However, it all comes down to this. Can these playoff drivers perform when their backs are against the wall? Who will shine through? That storybook getting ready to be is laid wide open as we start to etch the names in over the course of this bout to the championship this evening. Starting on the pole this evening, Matt Canana in that 18 machine outside of hip. Caleb Kleinert in that 19. Running out your top three, David Traylor in the 54 from Connors, Georgia. Isaac Smallwood with the great qualifying effort here in the 10. He's going to start or roll off from that fourth place position, while Matt Hayden in the 5 ride is going to round out your top 5. Dylan Pass, always a force to be reckoned with in that 11 machine. He's going to start 7th, while Brett Summers is going to roll off 8th. Kevin in the 17 machine just inside the top 10 in that 9th place position, while Ashley Ellison Jr. is going to round out your top 10. Mark Beverly in the 55, he's going to kick off here in that 11th place position, while Colton Hardy, piloting that 97, is going to start in 12th. Haas Beverly is going to have a ton of mojo as he was last week's winner. Going to roll off in that 13th place position, while starting 14th belongs to Nick Gardner. Dennis Steele going to round out your top 15. Well, Clinton Woodby is going to start in that 16th place position. Skylar Berry in that 18. Going to roll off here 18th in that 68 machine. While Jimmy Fitzmaurice in that 88 going to roll off 19th. Rounding out your top 20, Kevin Winker in the 42. While the 21 of Michael Newman, or excuse me, the 12 of Michael Newman is going to start 21st. While Jacob Ellison, it's going to round out the field of 22 drivers to take the initial green flag here this evening, which should be a high-octane thriller as we get ready for the initial green flag here. Is that field racked and stacked, ready to rock and roll? Matt Canana is going to have the button. Green flag in the air. He's going to put it through the floorboards, climb up through the H pattern, and we are officially playoff racing here from ChicagoLand. We come up to the speed for the first time tonight, wasting no time. Caleb, aggressive early here as he's looking on the inside. He's going to give it everything he's got. Oh, big time wiggle there on cold tires. That was almost disastrous as he sends it all the way down to the flatlands there. The 18 able to keep that momentum dialed up. I thought with that wiggle from the 96 as they get awful close to one another once again as they drag race down the backstretch, that may give him the advantage. But Caleb hanging tough in that inside lane as he kind of runs him up the racetrack just a little bit on corner entry. And these drivers here at the front, whoa, he didn't have much daylight between the 18 when he cleared himself. That almost got ugly. Going for the crossover move. The 18 is going to fire it right back on the inside. It's clear and apparent the playoffs are here because these two are duking it out right now. Running like it's 5 laps remaining here in the opening laps. Side by side, door to door. The 18 going to go Bon Jovi style, living on a prayer as he Hail Marys it into the corner. These two drivers here in a grudge match special for the lead. That Chevrolet caught a little piece of the apron there. You see the jig, the wiggle. Here comes the 7 now. Brett Summers. Who does he try to assist here? He can try to push a little bit. That draft does come into play. Just as I say that, he falls back in line. However, it is a three-way battle now for P1. As this World War II trench warfare style battle continues to rage at the front. Down the backstretch once again, and I mean, these guys are flirting with a couple inches between these two trucks from time to time here already. And again, this at speeds at over 190 miles an hour at times. Let's go on board with Brett Summers as he has VIP tickets to this battle for the lead down on the racetrack. As you're now on board with the 7 machine, who's also up 7 positions in 7 or less than 7 official green flag laps. This man is on the move, and he has caught the fight to carry the torch here. From Palm Bay. And I believe that is Palm Bay, Florida, my home state as well. Oh, you see him come up, administer the bump there, a little bit of a bump draft, if you will. And again, we're not super speed, we're not plate racing here. However, that draft does come into play here on those straights. As the front 2 trucks now edge out the 7 by about 3 truck lengths. It's like I said, Summers had the best view in the house for that battle. Do have to pay attention to those Goodyear Eagles. They will become Dr. Feel-Bads, especially when you have it cranked up to 1,000. And those drivers were side by side, door to door for pretty much the first opening 9 laps plus. We'll see if that becomes a factor here. Should we stay green? As Matt Canana continues to lead this piece. Now with 10 laps officially written in the history books, as playoffs race 1 now underway. Let's take a quick peek at the weather this evening. And again, you can't ask for anything better this time of the year. Just after 2 p.m. or 1400 sim time, those winds are a howling. It is the Windy City after all. That could be a silent force that these drivers have to deal with, especially coming out of the turns 3 and 4 complex, is that is steady at 15 miles an hour and could gust up to 20 miles an hour at times. Ambient air temperature, it is hot. For mid-November, that's 85 degrees ambient air temperature. It is dry like the Sahara Desert, only 5% water drain, clear skies, and that sun heating up that asphalt. Track temp just under the century mark at 95 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll monitor that over the course of the run this evening. The 18 and 19 continue to work in close proximity to each other. That's positions 1 and 2. And they have opened up a little bit of advantage over Brett Summers, who finds himself in the hornet's nest. David Traylor rolling deep, working the bottom of the racetrack. Smallwood going to try to follow him right on through here. Oh, as they almost bang doors off the quarter. High side of the racetrack, he can really keep that V8 wound up. Smallwood going to give him some assist there. Try to help clear the 7 on the high side. Trailer, he is eating, hanging tough on the bottom, and here comes the 10, and he's going to weld himself to the tailgate of the 7. That Kyle Larson inspired paint scheme. I can't believe it. Smallwood's actually thinking about going 3 wide here, under 20 laps on the board. Told you guys top of the broadcast, the playoffs are here, and it was going to turn up the intensity, and these drivers certainly have not disappointed here in the early going. This grudge match special has allowed 5th, 6th, and 7th to come into the picture. In this cluster of trucks right here, this is the hot spot on the racetrack. Trailer's going to bleed a couple positions here. Here comes Matt Hayden in the 5 ride as he joins this group. Three wide edger in the 3 and 4 complex. Get skinny, boys. Can't tell you how many times disaster has struck in that very similar scenario. 3 wide coming off the corner. You run out of real estate to work with, and bad things happen. However, such great talent in this series. A lot of seasoned veteran drivers able to make it work. Send it back up to the front. GRN continues to lead. However, Caleb Kleinert may have something to say about that as he is stalking the 18. For all you folks following along at home, what appears to be the 18 and 96ers actually a very tiny number in front of those bigger font numbers. So if you want to get technical, it's the 318 going up against the 196. So we're now officially 20 laps in to this 105 lap bout to open the playoffs here in primetime live on Ghost Racing Network. Thank Tower Operator for checking in. Hashtag Winker Nation. We know who he's rooting for. And in fact, you guys are got 8 to 10 of you viewing right now. Let us know who you're rooting for. Sound off. We'll shout you out and get your favorite driver some additional airtime here as well over the course of the broadcast. It's always appreciated. You guys being a part of the action as you welcome us into your homes, onto your phones, however you get this high-flying, high-octane broadcast coverage right here on Ghost Racing Network. And the intensity, the battle, the drive, so much on the line. You know these drivers want us to kick off this run to the championship with a win here tonight, and you can see the urgency on just how these guys are attacking the racetrack and the competition here early. A lot of times, we've seen throughout the course of the season, the give and take early on in these races is you can't win it on lap one. You have to survive and be alive. You have to have a piece of equipment that can contend for the win at the end. However, that seems to have gone out the window. These guys have virtually been full-blown attack mode since the drop of the green flag. And speaking of that, 24 laps in, we're going to step aside to our first all-out, all-access coverage. Go ahead and crank it up. Welcome back, race fans. I hope you enjoyed that extended playoff crank it up all-out access break as the caution flag flies for the first time this evening. It has been hot and heavy, a classic barn burner here from ChicagoLand through the first 31 laps of competition. Caution not for an incident out on the racetrack. No hot dumpster fires to speak of yet. It's the 318. That Chevrolet now picks up that iRacing.com pace truck. Biggest mover of the race here. Whoa, what in the world? Ashley Ellison Jr. under caution decides to go drift mode. Last night we kicked off the playoffs in a Gen 4 league and we had all kinds of extra shenanigans going on. What happened here? Timing and scoring not indicating there was an incident on the racetrack. But as everyone comes down pit road, let's roll back the tape here. Fortunately, can't go to an instant replay because, well, as far as timing and scoring is concerned, there was no incident on the racetrack, but clearly something went amiss. As the Menards truck took a ride there. Caution flag is out. Did he just lose it? What in the world? Maybe he's got a lot of rear brake dialed in it. I'm not sure what happened here. Nonetheless, Ashley Ellison Jr. A rare mistake under yellow. I think he just stopped the binder pedal a little too hard there and went for a little bit of a ride early. We now cycle back to the live side of things. Ooh, the 91 blew his box, had to put it in reverse there, get it situated so the team could go to work over the wall. Send it back out to the racetrack here. Hopefully that trend doesn't continue. As a couple rare mistakes here under caution of all things. So let's go back out on the iRacing.com pace truck, which means we're getting ready to boogie once again here at this 1.5 mile racetrack. Let's go on board with the 318 for this race truck. There goes the iRacing.com pace truck into the Geico restart zone. He's going to put it through the floorboards. Those glorious V8s come roaring back to life, and up through the H pattern we go. We sort it back now to the bumper GoPro cam. Great restart by Matt here. As it's a 2x2 Noah's Ark situation behind him. Smallwood doing big things as we get back up to speed. Canany do everything he can to keep this pack of hungry wolves behind him. Isaac Smallwood in the 10. Up 2 positions from where he started last time by. Ran a 33.31. And again, that was getting back up to speed. And in fact, your top 3 drivers just ran their fastest laps of the race. No surprise. So they got a fresh set of shoes underneath them. Get back just outside the top 10, or inside for that matter. I mean, that's where the battle really starts to rage and pick up. Once again, there's the 92 Clinton Woodby. Little Chevrolet on Chevy action here. The Napa know-how ride, the high side. It's a side-by-side foreign affair here. See the 6 there come up, throw the block on Mark Beverly. And that Ford EcoBoost F-150. Mark currently holds down that 11th place position, and just behind him in the 7, that's Brett Summers, who was near the front of this early. However, didn't get quite the pit stop he was looking for. That's going to shuffle him back and put him in the really the thick of the dirty air, if you will, and he's going to have some work to do. As he really had to work for it, get up on the wheel to get around. Mark Beverly. Dylan currently in 13th. Kevin Winker. Winker Nation in the house tonight. There's your 42. Beautiful paint scheme on that Chevrolet this evening. As he's just inside the top 15. That 14th place position. However, he's on the attack. In fact, he's going to turn it down. Eaton on the bottom here as he's going to send it into the 3-4 complex. And he has enough momentum there to easily clear the 11. Check the box. Winker now officially up 7 positions, tied for biggest mover of the race. Coming towards the front in that 13th place position. We send it back to the point. It is still Canada's Smallwood trailer. In fact, it is Chevrolet Toyota in the 10 there. Not a HendrickCars.com paint scheme. However, every time I see that, I naturally want to say Chevrolet. However, there's the Toyota badge on that truck here tonight. Then you got the 54 trailer. Pulls onto that final money position inside the top 3. Some of these drivers electing to send it down to the flatlands, coming through the start-finish line there. Others deciding to keep it on the banking. Got to be careful doing that. You can upset the balance as you transition from the banking onto that flat apron. Do that over the course of the run consistently. That can help wear out those good years a little quicker, especially when the track temp's dialed up. As we were just under the century mark. The drop of the green flag as the track was clocking in at about 95 degrees. 2x2 side by side here. Hayden thought about going 3 wide, then thought better of it. It's that Eagle 1.5 machine. Back even with the board, started 6th, and that's where he currently runs. It's the 196. Got a great run there with some help from the 5. Hardy hanging tough on the high side. Top shelf for Mama hides the cookies. Great battle here for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now the 5 can influence As he chose to go to the high side of the racetrack that time. The 97's able to clear, and the 5 says, hey, if you can do it, I can do it too. As Hayden now cracks the top 5 for the first time this evening. At Chevrolet carrying the torch is trying to check out. However, Smallwood is not having any of it here in the early going. Trailer in close proximity. So the last thing you want to do is you don't want to get caught racing the guy for second place and let that 18 or that 318 machine get away from you. Matt's so good, especially over the long run as well. He's really good at saving those tires. He remains single file here at the point. Trailer a little bit quicker. Last time by a 32.14 to Smallwood's 32.15. In fact, your fastest truck on the racetrack is Trailer. Three-truck breakaway at the front as they've stretched it out about a second over the fourth place machine of Matt Hayden in that Toyota. We're going to step aside, pay some bills for the first time this evening. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with coverage from ChicagoLand momentarily.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Welcome back to Ghost Racing Network race fans. Thanks for joining us here. Appreciate you guys welcoming us on into your homes, onto your phones. Oh, as we come back to coverage of the 97, introduces himself to some concrete. Poisoning on the high side of the racetrack there. Colton Hardy certainly had a Code Brown moment there. As he caught a piece of the fence. Just as we came back from break. So we're now officially 60 laps in to this 105 lap event as we kick off the playoffs tonight. Round one underway. Big things popping, little things stopping. Haven't you heard big things come in small packages? Isaac Smallwood able to dethrone the 318 while we were away as he carries the torch for the first time this evening. As he opens it out about a half a second now. And it is starting to get hot and heavy here for that second place position. Give him plenty of room here as he goes way up the hill. The 18 is going to send it down pit road. No mistakes here. Don't want to get caught speeding. Beautiful entry. As he now crawls at a snail's pace towards his pit stall. Trust me, folks, it feels like an eternity when you're doing 190 miles an hour out there at times. See if this is a come one, come all situation, and that very well could be. Smallwood did not come down that time by. He's going to stay out there on the racetrack. There has been some substantial fall off here this evening. This racetrack underestimated, in my opinion, in the cheese grater department, as it certainly will eat those good years up. Whoa! A little bit of a wiggle there from the 10. As his team decides that it's time to cue it up and send it down pit road. Isaac Smallwood down. Here comes the 5 of Matt Hayden, Dylan Pass, Clinton Woodby. The Napa know-how machine as well. The Haas's boss, the 22. As he executes a beautiful stop inside his box. $16 down and away. That's going to cycle trailer. The 54 here to the lead. He was last down pit road on lap 56. And that's a similar story for Winker Nation in the 42. He's showing up on the racetrack, and his fans are in the youtube.com live chat as well. Shauna showing up, showing some love. Hashtag Winker Nation as well. We appreciate you being here. Is Winker now up 18 positions. He virtually started in the next county over. And has got it done in the early going here on the racetrack. Well, technically, I shouldn't say early going, but over the course of the 66 laps. Sometimes, you know, when you get a lot of green flag stints out there on the racetrack, when you're running almost 30, just a little less than 32-second lap times, these laps go by quick, fast, and in a hurry. In the Wisconsin Man, sponsored by Mullenberger Custom Homes, deliver for his team and for you guys out there tonight. Tell you what, he's making a strong case. Just as I say that, at 318, and some fresher Goodyear Eagles able to make quick work of Winker. In fact, he's got about 8-lap fresher tires. Last time by, Cat-Anna ran a 30.83 to Kevin Winker's 30.89. His trailer continues to command this peach from Connors, Georgia. In fact, that round of green flag pit stops has really strung out this field. This trailer's opened up north of a 4.5-second advantage. Let's take a look here. So we can get the time delta here. A little bit of a gremlin. Normally that's like clockwork. Taking a look here at the pit stop strategery. See, trailer ran the 31 laps. So we had that stage break. 25 and now 14 to Cat-Anna's 31 and 8. However, the time delta just not firing off correctly, so we'll see if we can get that feature, that data to you guys later on in this broadcast. It's certainly show you how trailer was able to get it done there on pit road. Gain a lot of time. Leads for the first time this evening. Cat-Anna currently holds down that second place position, and there we go. Finally, Time Delta decides it wants to cooperate. You can see that big time differential. Smallwood doing big things out there on the racetrack, as always. It's now that third and final podium position. And you have to go back another almost 3 seconds now to Winker. Just outside the money, continues to be the biggest mover of the race. Again, gained a lot of that track position by short pitting or coming down a little bit earlier. Is the 5 just boosts. Clindered right on by the 42. Hayden now back inside the top 5 once again. Is don't blink. You might think this is Daytona or Talladega. It's not. But the 196 and the 5 clearly working together. That is not team cars. That is not 2 Toyotas. That is not 2 Chevrolets. That is a Chevrolet, a bow tie, and a Toyota working together. But again, these two seasoned veterans understand that, by them both deploying the buddy system here, having a battle buddy out there, able to get a little more momentum on these straightaways. So they are charging towards the front. And they're putting down the lap times right now, certainly to reflect it. So that is at 4th and 5th place position. Three-way battle here. It's 14th, 15th, and 16th. Kevin sporting the Goodyear colors this evening. Beautiful looking paint scheme on that Chevrolet. Nick always, more often times than not, the Napa know-how man in that Chevrolet. Caution out on the racetrack. This is going to rack and stack the field back up, as we had gotten really strung out here over the course of those green flag pit stops. The trailer is going to watch that lead evaporate into thin air. Is coming out on lap 78. This pit road becomes the hottest spot inside the racetrack. Trailer, Smallwood, Dennis Steele, Kat Anik, Matt Hayden, Mark Beverly, Kevin Winker, Clinton Woodby, Ashley Ellison Jr., who had that odd moment on the racetrack. He got the first caution on the evening. The back of that truck just stepped out from underneath him, and he went for a ride as he continues to try and rebound. He is down in a race, down and away, and it is a mad dash off the pit road. Dennis Steele in a 28. Currently being scored as the leader. Last down pit road on lap 60. So he's going to roll the dice here, go full-blown Las Vegas mode here. Yes, he says, old shoes, no problem. You know what? I like the call. Sometimes you got to do opposite of what everyone else is doing. Your truck might not be handling to your liking. You got to do something to shake it up. Do something different at times. And one way to get some track position is doing just that. It's that EcoBoost F-150. Going to have clean air for the first time tonight. .318 going to restart here on the inside. However, it looks like 28's going to take the outside lane. Or at least that's the way it's shaping up. We still have a lap car. Going to benefit here. Should get the free pass. It's Rusty Modesty. Should cycle back to the tail end of the field here once we get one to go. Home state of Illinois, perhaps. This is his home track in that turtle wax machine. or I should say turtle wax inspired paint scheme. Care sponsorship on board this evening. See, now comes around. However, from Actionville, Florida, throwing it back to Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison with the Haviland colors. He's going to have to trigger the button here on this restart. Last thing you want to do here is spin the tires. Remember, folks, he's on a pair of Grand Race Sunday slippers right now. Everyone else just down pit road. Virtually the entire field except for Steele. Got about an 18-lap deficit on those Goodyear Eagles. This should make for an interesting restart. Approach the Geico restart zone. Rack and stack single file. Steele's going to go deep in the box. He's going to give it to Hammer. Does a great job on the high side of the racetrack. The 96 making big time, or 196 making big time moves behind him. He went from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom. And here comes the cavalry. It was a 28's going to stack up the outside lane here. Ooh, that was close. 3 wide into the corner. Oh, there's contact, and there he goes. The big one's going to pop off here. 4 wide. How did these guys save it? Are you kidding me? I thought we were about to set this track aflame. Is it woulda, coulda, shoulda? What a job by all of these drivers with the situational awareness, the heads-up driving. Incredible. However, caution flag is going to fly, so that's going to slow things back down here once again. Big time Code Brown moment. In fact, that was the don't stain your ride, use tide moment of the race, coming off of that restart with some worn out Dr. Feelbads. Restarting in the outside lane there, the field got bunched up and he got yeeted. And I thought for certain that was going to tear up a lot of these trucks, as it often does in those situations. And not these boys. They were ready for it. Chance for these guys to catch their breath. Might as well reach up there, pull your belts tight one more time, as it's only going to get more wild and crazy from here. In fact, we'll be under 20 laps to go when the green flag comes back out. Little Friday night, short track style shootout to the end of this thing. Can-Ana Dylan Pass, up 6th position, currently resides in 2nd. Well, trailer rounds out your top 3. Clinton would be your biggest mover of the race in the 92, up 13 positions in 4th. Isaac Smallwood's going to round out your top 5. Then the Valvoline Eagle 1. Machine piloted by Matt Hayden, Mark Beverly. Winker Nation, a.k.a. Kevin Winker, that is going to reside in that 8th place position, while Ashley Ellison Jr. continues to be on that recovery drive in 9th. And Nick is going to round out the top 10. There's that Halvolin machine. He took it down pit road, put some new tires on it. He's lucky that truck wasn't wadded up and ready for the scrapper. I mean, it was a tall ask for him to stay out there, but I still like the call. You got to do something to shake things up, to turn the tides. Clearly, he needed a caution. He just didn't want to necessarily be the caution. But I can't believe that we didn't tear up a bunch of race trucks here at the front of this thing. Is just an incredible heads-up display of driving by all these guys up front. 4, almost 5 wide at one point. Here in the NASCAR Diecast Sales and Card Breaks 157 playoff race number 1. Live on your esports sim racing leader, Ghost Racing Network, of course. Come home to 6 days of all the high-flying, high-octane racing action. Smash the like button, ring the bell. This way you'll get notified each and every time the Metalheads Truck Series takes it to the racetrack on Monday nights here in primetime. Lights go out on the pace truck. Pass going to look to give it the gas on the high side of the racetrack as he's going to take the top lane. Trailer possibly in the catbird seat as he's going to restart third. Don't count out that 5 of Matt Hayden. He's been coming on here in the late going. He has figured out something in that Toyota. That truck has really come to life here. iRacing.com pace truck pulls off. There he goes. Here we go. Into the Geico restart zone. And let's get back to the boogie here in Chicagoland. What a restart. Looked like he had 1,000 horsepower and all-wheel drive underneath that machine. That was clean. Trailer has a big-time head of steam. He's got some help on the top shelf as he pulls within inches of Cat-Anna. Now he's going to try to go to the high side. He's going to try to block. He gets a little bit of a bump. He wiggles, does the jig. Oh, as it's fast and furious here once again, ladies and gentlemen. Look for the 10 to try to thread the needle. That Smallwood just doesn't have the mojo. Look at him stuff it right up in front of Cat-Anna. That's a driver that wants to win, understands what's on the line. It is playoffs, and it's all about winning. We've seen that over the course of history. A lot of times it's not necessarily points racing. It's about wins, and certainly good finishes are great, but when the competition is this fierce, there's no better way to secure your way to the next round to lock yourself in than punching the old ticket in victory lane. There's 2 Toyotas here. Occupy that first and second place position. Make that one Toyota 1, 2, 3 at the moment is Hayden. Continues to catch fire here in that 5. Let's jump on board. From Bryan, Arkansas. This driver always willing to watch, always puts on a good show. If he's out there on the racetrack, doesn't matter if he's leading 10 laps down, he is going to give it 100% each and every time he straps in. On the iRacing.com side of things, it is always guaranteed to put on a show. Hayden's second fastest truck out there on the racetrack. Take a look at his onboard telemetry. You can see 183 miles an hour as he sends it off into the corner. Should be within draft range or within draft's reach of Smallwood as he continues to try and close the gap. Smallwood continues to hold on to that second place position. Trailer's trying to pull away here. Winker Nation, I know you guys are alive in the chat. Taking a look here at your driver, the 42, currently holding on to that 5th place position, challenging Mark Beverly for 4th. In fact, he has the dial set to kill. He is gritting that steering wheel. He has it cranked up to 1,000 inside the cockpit. And that Chevrolet trying to get Mark Beverly to make a mistake here in that Ford. He's trying to imply the pressure like the Intimidator of old. Make you freeze up, make a mistake. Get caught mirror driving. Missed the corner. Try to make that pass a little more. Come back through the Geico restart zone once again now. Just 9 laps remaining here in ChicagoLand. Back up to the front of this piece, it's all David Trailer. As these Toyotas have found some vibe in their rides here. Trailer Smallwood and Matt Hayden. That last time by, the top 3 trucks virtually all ran the same lap time within a couple thousandths of each other. That's how close the competition is here at the point. Then you got to go about a half a second back to Mark Beverly, who continues to grind it out. He's inside the top 5 for the first time this evening in the 55 run. Last week's winner, of course, has momentum on his side. Looking to back up last week's win with a strong performance here. Winker, final spot inside the top 5 as he owns that 5th place position, while Rusty Modesty has rebounded nicely here to 6th. Brett Summers, we've seen him up near the front of this race earlier on. A little bit of damage there to the front of that Chevrolet. That's probably slowing him down, especially on these long straightaways. However, good for 7th place position, while Skylar Berry runs in 8th. Dennis Steele and Jimmy Fitzmaurice round out your top 10. Send it back to the front with just 5 laps remaining. Gentleman's handshake lap on the board. I mentioned earlier that Trailer just executes so well, and he just gets better as you put laps on these Goodyear Eagles. most drivers either, they excel firing off on fresh tires, or they're one of what I like to call the long run boys, and that's where they really come on. But Trailer, there's big time smoke in front of him. I definitely seen that up here in the booth. However, we stay green out there on the racetrack. But as I was saying about Trailer, he's just one of those rare talents that's, he is fast, he is lightning quick. New shoes, old shoes, no shoes. I mean, he knows how to go. Last time by, fastest truck on the racetrack at 32.15. So he has almost stretched it out over a second over Isaac Smallwood. About a similar gap back to the 5 ride of Matt Hayden. David almost looking robotic out there as that truck looks like it is welded to the racetrack. Got a quarter lane off the wall as he sends it into the corner. All the way down to the bottom. It's the first time I've actually seen that 54 wiggle. Do not want to invoke the broadcaster's curse here as it's one more time. One lap remaining in the first round of your playoff opener. And David Trailer looking to capitalize here and make a statement on the competition as he goes down the backstretch for the final time tonight. He's going to salute the fans in the RV parking lot as he launches it off into 3 and 4 for the final time. Coming off of 4, you can see Barney with the checkered flag and the king of the Windy City here getting it done on Ghost Racing Network. First win of the playoffs in round 1. David Trailer scores the victory over Isaac Smallwood and Matt Hayden. What a performance, what a run from these Toyotas here. And how about Mark Beverly? First Ford in the field. Your winner last week and able to keep his mojo. And the flinker comes up and nerfs him. A little bit of a friendly high five there. Kevin Winker going to get credit with a 5th place finish as Trailer gets ready to burn the house down. Heck yeah, buddy. You don't need those tires anymore. Use them up. Trailer puts on a clinic here as we wait for them to give them a moment to celebrate with their team. Is the Toyota's own, the top 3 spots. Now joining me up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, punching his ticket in the opener of the playoffs, David Trailer. Matt, up top, you got a copy there, boss. Gonna try it one more time. Looks to be having some audio problems there with the 54. Let's go ahead and try this again. For me, he does not want to move up into the broadcast booth, so problem solved. We're going to jump down to them. Joining me now in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, driver of the number 54 TRD Toyota, who gets race one of the playoffs here in the Windy City, gets it done. David Trailer, you got a copy, bud.
Yeah, I got you, Matt.
Well, hey, man, congratulations first and foremost, rising to the occasion here, the playoff opener, and you prove that you are a force to be reckoned with here. The championship is going to run through you. How are you able to go out there and put on such a strong performance against such great competition?
A little bit of luck, a little bit of a lot of luck actually, a little bit of skill. It didn't take much to just be on the wrong side of somebody today. So staying up front helped. Those guys up there in the top 7, 8 know how to race you clean. They'll put it on your door, but they won't turn you. So just wheeling it. This track, you gotta get up on the wheel, elbows out, kind of almost dirt tracking it around this place. But it was fun, and then we got it done.
You know, you mentioned that's a great point about dirt tracking it here. I don't think this racetrack gets enough credit for just how abrasive it is on those Goodyear Eagles. What was it like out there holding on to that race truck? And I mean, you were putting down some fast lap times, even on old shoes. What was it like trying to hang on to that thing over the course of this run when those tires started to fall off?
It just it all starts when you start the run. You know, you don't want to get them too hot too fast. That's the key here. So give up a little time in the beginning, and you'll make up a lot at the end. You gotta be willing to give up some spots. We kind of did that in the first stage. Gave up one too many and had to spend the next 15 laps trying to get back around those guys, who I knew I was faster than. But once we got done with the stage, I knew it was pretty much straightforward from there. Just keep it under me, not overdrive any of the corners, and try to keep it off the wall.
I appreciate that excellent analysis and breakdown there. Obviously, you're a seasoned veteran here on the iRacing.com side of things, and having that discipline, the patience, knowing when to go, when not to go, certainly a big part of the formula for success here tonight, and you executed that flawlessly here tonight in prime time. Before I cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 54?
Yeah, thanks to my teammates here over at Metalheads, Isaac and Colton, two guys that are probably going to be racing in the championship with me. They both have great speed. I knew I could see the 10 in the mirror pretty much that whole last run.
Yes, sir.
He keeps me on my toes. I got to be pretty much perfect if I wanna find victory lane here. So thanks to them. Thanks to you over at GRN for putting the broadcast on. I love going back and watching it. Thanks to really the rest of the field. As hard as this track is to drive, for the most part, we kept it pretty clean, and that's kind of just a shout out to them for like I said, they all wheeled it. And then thanks to Nate for putting this league on, and my dad for watching at home, and my fiance for letting me do this.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. David Trailer finds some serious boogie under that Toyota hoodie, able to survive and be alive and outlast the competition as he punches his ticket in round one of the playoffs into victory lane in the Windy City. Congratulations, and thanks for joining me up here in the GRN booth, bud.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Matt.
Always a pleasure to speak with David Trailer. Phenomenal interview each and every time with the excellent analysis and breakdown over the course of the race. We wish him all the best of luck in his over the course of his playoff run here in the Metalheads Truck Series as we move on to another Toyota driver, Isaac Smallwood. Matt, up top, you got a copy, boss.
Yeah, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, you're what's going on. In fact, TRD, really, the storyline here tonight is 3 Toyotas own the top 3 spots. Your bud just shouted you out there moments ago. Came up just a little bit short, but man, you really had to work for this one. How are you able to climb through the field and just, quite frankly, have your way with the competition out there at times? You made passing them look easy.
Yeah, really, the main thing was keeping our nose clean. There, we got put back in like 7th place or so, and there was a quick caution, and thankfully we missed that one. And just other than that, it was a pretty clean race. We were pretty grateful. We went with the longer run strategy, and it worked out there in the first part of the second stage. And if it would have stayed green, probably would have worked out for us. But Toyota as a whole, we all came through, and the race team over in Metalheads, we worked together as much as we could, and we came home 1-2.
Yeah, well said. And, you mentioned that caution. That one restart where you had some older shoes out there on the racetrack, there was about an 18-lap deficit between yourself and the leader. That restart got bunched up on the high side of the racetrack, and I thought that was going to be the fuse that lit the big one, that you guys were at 4 and 5 wide trying to filter your way through there, and somehow that bomb does not go off. How are you able to not just wad that race truck up there in the moment? I mean, you guys were mere millimeters off of each other, and somehow everyone made it through. That was some incredible driving. What was it like in the heat of that moment?
Yeah, thankfully that's whenever I started 7th. So thankfully I was on the bottom, and I was able to kind of see everybody to my outside. I think at one point me, Matt, and David were 3 wide behind them. So it was kind of a hairy situation, but somehow we all made it work, and it was just a little chaotic, at times. But whenever I think they spun out and hit the wall up top, and then whenever they came down off the wall, it sent the 196 down through the bottom into the grass on going down the backstretch. So we were just able to miss that and keep our nose clean, and the fresher tires would prevail at the end of the race. So we were just holding on.
Yeah, that was a great piece of driving by you, finding the parting of the Red Seas to get through there. In fact, by a lot of the guys up near the front that found a way to keep that one from being the big one. That was an absolutely incredible piece of driving. I had to scrape myself off the floor of the broadcast booth. I thought that was going to obliterate a ton of trucks, but like you said, able to keep it lean and green and charge on. And before I cut you loose, Isaac, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 10 machine?
Yeah, I got to thank David and Colton. They've brought me in as one of their teammates about halfway through this season. They've really helped me out a whole lot, and I've gave some tips and pointers to them, and they've really improved throughout the whole season. I can't thank them enough. And you put on this awesome broadcast, budmancars.com, smearing off ice, and just everybody that helps out with this machine.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody circles the wagon like Isaac Smallwood as Toyota goes 1, 2, 3. Comes up just a little bit short, but he has momentum, and he'll certainly take that run as he comes home in that second place position. Thanks for your time. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, 2 down, 1 to go, and that means certainly last but not least. And as I said, Toyota 1, 2, 3. Well, you guessed it. Matt Hayden was vibing in the 5 this evening. He's your third place finisher. Welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, bud.
Hey, man. How you doing, bud?
Dude, I'm doing great after watching that race. I'll tell you what, Matt, you had to start a little bit deeper in the field tonight. This was not a walk-off third place finish for you. It seemed like maybe the handling or just something wasn't necessarily, meshing well with you in the early going. But you found a way to get up on that wheel, and, about halfway through that race, that truck really seemed to fire off and come to life. Walk me through your run tonight.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was wild on the broadcast. It was definitely
Yes, sir.
wild in traffic. Yeah, I don't know. I think just wasn't on the right pace early. I think most difficult part is there was a lot more speed on the high side. There was a lot better tire saving on the bottom. You needed the high side to pass, and people were protecting the high side. I just couldn't pass anybody on the low side, so everyone would give me the door that way. I would try to sail it off in there, lose all grip, and so it just I feel like it took me about 90 laps to figure out what to do to start moving up, but we got real lucky with that caution. Taking tires, I think, was a gamble for a lot of people because if we would have had another late caution, I think a lot of us would have been pretty screwed there. So I think it worked out. Just the timing of it worked. And then like Isaac was saying, we had a really close moment where we were all sandwiched together right there, and yeah, man, just it's nice being able to race around people that are top tier because you don't have to worry as much being three wide with those two guys on your inside outside. Um, those guys are gonna keep it where they need to, and so I'm glad it worked out and we weren't all wadded up and watching the end of the race on YouTube.
Yeah, well said. And, I honestly thought, live in the moment that it was going to be the big one. The nuke was going to go off. And like you said, just such great competition. And, the caliber of drivers in this series are, of the elite. And you guys were able to ride that through the storm and, keep it lean and green out there on the racetrack. I've watched you at times over the course of this run tonight, as you said, necessarily just wasn't hitting on all cylinders early, but that's one of the things I like watching about you. It doesn't matter if you're in first, 15th, or 10 laps down. If you're out there on the racetrack, you're going to give it everything you got until the checkered flag flies each and every time. And you found a way to get that truck to come to life when it counted, coming home to a third place finish. One final question for you. I seen you at times almost looked like shades of Talladega. You were out there doing some hardcore bump drafting down the straightaways. How big of a factor was the draft at times?
I think it depended on what part of it was. So I know that after we had that green flag cycle, we all kind of got stretched out. David pit early, got out to a pretty big lead. I got tied up with Caleb, and we were, that first run we were kind of on the same pace. So trying to go side by side, man, you end up costing yourselves more time. So I figured it was easier just to stay in behind him. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made lap time. I felt like being behind him, we got better on the straights, but I think I burnt more right front up, just not having air on the front of the car. Or trucked. He already trucked, that is. So I don't know. I think the give and take. I think we were running better lap times. I think we were tracking them down. So I think you had to be with someone that you could run the same pace with. I think if you were behind someone that was faster or slower, vice versa, I think it would have cost you more. But I just lucked out in that stint to be behind someone that was on pace with the lap times I was running.
Yeah, sometimes, you have to have a little bit of lady luck on your side, and it worked out for you there at the end, but still, you got up on the wheel, found a way to make things happen on the racetrack, and you come home with a solid third place position. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 5?
Yeah, I want to thank guys over at Misfit Motorsports. We had Rusty and Jimmy inside top 10, so good start to the playoffs. Well, I'm sorry. Good finish for them, although I think they're outside the playoffs. But as a whole for the team, that was good effort for that. I want to thank the guys over in Challenger Racing League, Central Arkansas Karting Complex. I want to thank my son out there for watching, Katie, who's out working late today. Just thank everybody watching the broadcast and appreciate everybody coming out. Appreciate it, Mike.
Gentlemen, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time right here on Ghost Racing Network.